Years ago, I thought I'd found it. The one nootropic supplement I had to have in my stack because it would help me concentrate, my memory would be better, and it would really help me stay focused throughout the day. But then I stumbled across a study that revealed a pretty terrifying secret about it, and I stopped using it that same day. In this video, I'm going to tell you about the incredible benefits of using Alpha GPC and why you should not add it to your nootropic stack. Now, how does Alpha GPC compare to Citicoline? Decades of neuroscience that show the amazing benefits of Alpha GPC. In this video, I'll also show you the best type of Alpha GPC to buy. And if you stay with me to the end of this video, you'll find out the recommended dosage for Alpha GPC. And you'll also learn why I stopped using this amazing nootropic and why I do not recommend using Alpha GPC and the supplement you can use instead, but still get all of the benefits. Now, before we get started, if you find this kind of information helpful, please hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps this channel get noticed by others who might need this information too. And if you're feeling frustrated or overwhelmed trying to figure out which supplements are right for you, consider getting professional help. You can schedule a consultation with me using the link in the notes below, and we will work on getting you back on track. Now let's get started and find out what the hell is going on with Alpha GPC. Now honestly, we're all looking for that edge, something to help us focus, learn faster, and give us the cognitive boost we need to perform better. Because in a world that never stops, not being able to focus can be deadly to your career, and not being able to concentrate certainly doesn't help you at home either. That is what originally led me to a nootropic called Alpha GPC. It's well known in the cognitive enhancement world. It's a specific kind of choline, which is an essential nutrient our brains are absolutely desperate for. Now you can get a little bit from foods like eggs and red meat, but the amount you get is pretty small. So what makes Alpha GPC so special? First, it's highly bioavailable, meaning that your body can actually absorb and use it incredibly well. And second, it easily crosses the blood-brain barrier. Once it gets into your brain, it provides the choline you need to make acetylcholine, the signaling neurotransmitter that's critical for memory, concentration, focus, and even your mood. And it is potent. We're talking about 40% choline by weight, making it one of the most effective choline supplements out there. And this is why it became such a big deal. People who use it report incredible results, including sharper memory, laser-like focus for hours on end, and just this feeling of thinking is faster and smoother. It seemed like the perfect nootropic for a tired, overworked brain. It just worked, and that's why I was using it. Alpha GPC benefits. When I first started using Alpha GPC, it worked just like they said it would. Better concentration and focus within a half hour of taking a standard 300 milligram dose. My ability to just sit and write, absorb dense information, and to translate all that complex neuroscience into plain English, well, that's what made Nootropics Expert the destination for everyone who's talking about you came to Nootropics Expert to learn about nootropic supplements. And the science backs this up. Alpha GPC's main job is to increase the amount of acetylcholine in your brain. Acetylcholine is your signaling neurotransmitter. It works in synergy with dopamine for learning and memory. A major review of 13 different clinical trials involving over 4,000 people found that Alpha GPC led to significant improvements in memory and attention, and it was particularly evident in those dealing with age-related cognitive decline. But the buzz in the nootropics community grew because other studies suggested it could even help with better attention and memory in healthy young people. But the potential perks didn't stop there. Some research also showed that Alpha GPC can increase human growth hormone, which is why it got popular with athletes looking for an edge. And there were even hints that it could provide a mood-boosting effect by influencing dopamine. Now, without a doubt, an amazing nootropic supplement. Alpha GPC side effects. As I was digging deeper into the long-term research, I came across a study published in a major medical journal called the JAMA Network, and the title stopped me in my tracks. It said, Association of Alpha GPC with subsequent stroke risk after 10 years. And my heart just sank. Stroke risk? We're not talking about a headache or an upset stomach here. I had been using Alpha GPC every day for years, and I'm thinking, what did I get myself into? This wasn't some small-time study either, it was massive. It looked at data from over 12 million people in South Korea, aged 50 and older. Researchers tracked who was using Alpha GPC and then followed them for 10 years to see what happened. And the results were frightening. The study found that people that used Alpha GPC every day for 10 years had a 46% higher risk of stroke compared to those who didn't use Alpha GPC. And this increased risk applied to both strokes caused by a blockage and strokes caused by a bleed in the brain. And even more concerning, they found a dose-response relationship. And that's a fancy way of saying that the more Alpha GPC a person took, and the longer they took it, the higher their stroke risk climbed. This one finding completely torpedoed the idea that this was a safe long-term supplement. And suddenly this miracle had a very dark cloud hanging over it. So what's going on? The primary suspect is a compound your body produces called TMAO. When you consume a lot of choline, certain bacteria in your gut can turn it into a substance that your liver then converts into TMAO. The problem is other research has linked higher levels of TMAO to a greater risk of cardiovascular or heart problems, like the hardening of your arteries. It seems that by loading up on this super efficient form of choline, you might also accidentally be fueling a process that could lead to a heart attack down the road. What this risk means for you and what you should use instead. Now let's put this into context. It's important to remember that the study participants were 50 and older, and the Alpha GPC was prescribed, which could mean that they already had health issues. The risk for a healthy 25-year-old is very different, but an almost 50% increased risk is a signal that's just impossible to ignore, no matter what your age. For me, it completely changed how I saw Alpha GPC. The amazing short-term benefits couldn't outweigh such a serious long-term risk. This immediately sent me looking for alternatives. If I was going to stop taking Alpha GPC long-term, what could take its place? I quickly found another excellent choline source, Citicoline, also known as Citicoline. Like Alpha GPC, Citicoline quickly crosses the blood-brain barrier and gives your brain choline to make more acetylcholine. But it has a key difference. When Citicoline breaks down, it splits into two other things, choline and another compound called cytidine. This cytidine then converts into uridine, which is another powerful nootropic all on its own that's known for helping repair and build brain cell membranes. So where Alpha GPC gives you a fast, powerful increase in choline, Citicoline offers a more sustained 2-for-1 approach. You get the choline for focus and memory, and you get the uridine for long-term brain health and repair. Most importantly, Citicoline has not been linked to the same stroke risk as Alpha GPC in studies. In fact, it has a huge body of research supporting its long-term safety and use for neuroprotection. So it looks like that you can use Alpha GPC with no problem in the short term. But Citicoline is the better choice for long-term brain health and performance. Its safety profile looks much, much better. My verdict on Alpha GPC and the best alternative. So where does that leave us? Personally, I immediately stopped taking Alpha GPC. The evidence, especially the fact that the risk goes up the longer you take it, is just too compelling for me to ignore. For short-term use, it's not a problem and has been shown to be safe. But for long-term use as part of your routine, it is simply not worth the risk. For my long-term choline source, I've switched entirely to Citicoline. It gives me the steady boost in focus and memory while also supporting the physical structure of my brain, all without that terrifying cardiovascular question mark hanging over it. If you do choose to use Alpha GPC, please be smart about it. A typical nootropic dose is 300 milligrams twice a day. While some studies use more, given what we now know, I suggest staying on the low end and using it only for short periods seems like the most responsible choice. And always get a high-quality, third-party tested supplement from a trustworthy company. But here is the most important takeaway from this whole journey. No supplement is a magic pill. The fantasy of a limitless pill is strong, but real sustainable cognitive performance is built on real science. So do your research and know exactly what you're putting into your body. That way you'll get the performance boost and nothing will come back to bite you down the road. Alpha GPC in conclusion. I'm really curious to hear what you think about this. Do you use Alpha GPC? What's your experience been? Let me know in the comments and share it with the whole community. This is the kind of conversation that we need to have. And that is why we have our membership too. The perks for joining including early access to new videos and easier access to me. Your questions in the comments section of this channel get priority. Special videos on the latest nootropic research just for members. And if you join the Neurohacker 2.0 tier, you'll also be able to submit your nootropic stack to me. I'll provide the feedback and my suggestions to make it better via video. And if you appreciate these deep dives into the best nootropic supplements to help your brain work better, make sure to subscribe. It helps a lot because it tells YouTube to show these videos to more people who could also use the same help that you're getting. So please hit subscribe and share this video. And hit that notification bell so that you don't miss when I upload my next video. The search for a better working brain is complicated, and it has to be a safe one. Don't chase short-term wins at the expense of your long-term health. I'm David Toman, and this is my channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.